Hey everyone, today I'm going to be reading the notes on Varlamore the Shining Kingdom that's come through the news on the Oldschool Runescape's front page, basically. So in the news post, there's some things that have come out with the leagues for changes, sailing lock-in poll, and also obviously the Summer Summit of 2023, which was live streamed recently. If you haven't checked that out, I'd suggest checking that on the YouTube, Oldschool Runescape's YouTube. But yeah, I just wanted to read this one. This was one I was interested in as it's a new entire new sort of zone in the Glenore map, so let's check it out. So it says, ready to explore the mysterious lands south of Kourend? Then you are in luck. And it's got this nice thing here, Varlamore area expansion. So I'll try and say the names properly here if I can. And I won't read all of these notes, but I will just go over the ones, and then when it gets to the titles, I'll just go over my thoughts and just with what's there that I've read. So south of Mount Quidamortem, beyond the Stranglewood, lies a land filled with adventure and excitement, a region filled with new quests, new gameplay, new places to explore, which is pretty cool. And I think they've probably got a lot of this information through these, not just through poll feedback, but also through those survey monkeys that we do. A shining kingdom formed by refugees fleeing Xeric's age of strife over 1,000 years ago. Since a war against the disgraced Emperor Imafor came to a close 100 years ago, Varlamore has remained relatively isolated from their neighbours and the rest of Gielinor. Although this isolation has allowed the nation to rebuild and prosper, its current ruler, Queen Ziani Arkan, is ready to open their ports to the wider world. Will you be among the first outsiders to set foot in the Shining Kingdom? These names always feels like a tongue twister trying to say these. So this is just an overview. Old School's next area expansion will take you to the Shining Kingdom of Varlamore and open up a new region south of Kourend Kebos. And I believe on the map it looks to be south of the Stranglewood, where you kill that boss that looks like a Halo zombie. We're just not offering a new region jam-packed with delightful content. We're offering answers to some of Old School RuneScape's biggest questions. Whether you're a lorehound, an avid PVMer, or a super skiller, Varlamore is something for you. So it does sound, obviously this being a new place on the map. I know the Elf place had that same sort of thing where there was high-level PVM with the Corrupted Gauntlet, and then you also had the Zolcano skilling boss, and you had the new Crystal Imps found there, and new agility cores, so there was things there, and Crystal Tree. So sounds like it might be a little bit like that on a bigger scale, which is pretty exciting. So Kingdom Divided, Varlamore will be a huge, highly anticipated area expansion, and we want to ensure we can make this newest part of the world feel alive and full of content from day one. We've learned a lot from our first foray into the continent with Kourend and Kebos Lowlands, and we plan to harness these learnings to make Varlamore our biggest and best area expansion yet, so there you go. To make this happen, we're splitting Varlamore into a multi-part release that will span the whole of 2024. You'll be free to explore the parts of Varlamore we've already launched, while this old school team work to open up the rest of the kingdom to intrepid explorers like yourself. Each area will come with a variety of key content pieces, so you'll have plenty to do from the moment you first step foot in the region. We'll keep you in the loop throughout and undertake community consultation so you'll know exactly what to expect. To start off, we got 4 major content beats to vote on in this very blog, so keep reading to learn what you can expect in the first batch of Varlamore content. Before we get to that though, we have some acknowledgements to make. So this is where I'll start. I won't read word for word, I'll just sort of brush through this because I don't want it to be a massive video. So a player known as Gentle Tractor created a redesign that captured the Old School developers team. This was all the way back in 2016. So that was even before raids, which is pretty crazy. The keen-eyed among you will notice that the southernmost area of the map is called Varlamore. This is actually the very first time this name was used, and it clearly resonated with the community. We loved it and chose to integrate Varlamore into the existing lore when we worked on the Kebos Lowlands expansion and the various Kourend designs. So that's pretty awesome. So it says they've worked with the community and Gentle Tractor. So well done, Gentle Tractor. This is pretty elaborate and impressive on the scale of this. So they've worked together, Gentle Tractor and the Oldschool Runescape team, to draft the first official map of Varlamore, and it does look pretty cool. So if we click into here, so that's what the map looks like. So that is pretty cool. So I think that's a Colosseum there. Yeah. From the fortified walls of Civitas Illa Fortis to the vast avium savanna, from the sacred stones of Ralos rise to the sparkling waterways of Tempestus, Varlamore promises exploration, adventure and discovery for all. In case it isn't clear, we'd like to extend a massive thanks to General Tractor for all the amazing work he's done so far. Yeah, great work, mate. So yeah, so this is a bit better because this actually shows the places on the map. So Ralos Rise, Khan, Turam Entrance, Kingdom Varlamore. Okay. So you got the Hunters Guild there in the middle. You got a little dock station there. Colossus Worm Remains. So it'd probably be like a little dungeon, I suppose, in there. See what else we got. So hunting areas, mining. Obviously the bustling city that they're promising here. So lots of farming sort of stuff. I guess for Iron Man this would be pretty cool to be doing, you know, self-sufficient on this island. I'm sure there'll be a lot of series, Varlamore series. And then you've also got the Colosseum just underneath me there, which will, I believe, will have a new fight cave styled minigame, which will be pretty sick. So yeah. So yeah, basically saying the bustling city, hub for trade, transport, feats of bravery. There's a queen there with loyal culty guards, is that right? Yep, so it has its own ecosystem of creatures and critters, so that's pretty cool. I imagine they'll have stuff there for pures, just like, you know, Kourend has the sand crabs and things that come in, which was awesome for pures training. So I think there'll be a lot peppered in for everyone. So yeah, basically saying in question 1, should we have Varlamore? So my opinion is yes, it's very needed, and just for exploration purposes, especially if sailing is voted yes by majority of the vote. I think the Varlamore area will be tied into that well. So they're just saying here quests. I'll just brush over this because I'm sure that'll change over time, but they're just saying should it include 2 quests? Definitely, obviously. And then Fortis Colosseum. So I'll read this one because this is pretty exciting. I'm sure a lot of people who watch this, probably this is what you want to know about. So on Varlamore's southeastern shores sits the crown jewel and capital city, Civitas Illa Fortis. This shining city has many claims to fame, but towering above them all is the city's defining feature, the Fortis Colosseum. In this grand arena, spectators gather from all over Varlamore to witness the strongest fighters in the region take on all manner of vicious beasts in an epic fight to the death. Legend claims that the blood spilled here sustains the sun god Ralos and prevents the world from being plunged into eternal darkness. So there's a bit of lore tied in there, which is pretty cool. And we have that through the Kebos, through Kourend, you'll know about Ralos. It has been mentioned. This epic arena is a setting for a new wave-based PvM minigame. Inspired by the Tuscal trials. I thought that because that was in the, here it's saying the 2022 April Game Jam, and I wondered what happened to that. So this is obviously, it's sort of morphed over time into this idea for Varlamore. The Fortis Colosseum will pit the bravest among you against an onslaught of increasingly complex waves of enemies. Those of you who own a fire cape should be able to get your feet wet in the early rounds, but as the waves progress you can expect combinations of enemies that will test the skills of even the most seasoned combatants. Unlike other wave-based minigames, as the difficulty increases, so too do the stakes. After each wave you'll be offered a choice: swallow your pride and leave with the loot, or risk it all in your next battle. You are here to put on a show after all. Sounds a bit like Draven from League of Legends, Tyler 1, maybe he can do this. While our previous offerings have had loads of waves, this time we want to deliver a shorter experience with a focus on replayability. We want the Fortis Colosseum to feel less like a one and done milestone and more like something you are excited to improve at over time. Some randomizing of enemy spawn locations and even slight variations on the enemies you'll encounter ensure there's plenty of variety, but there's something else that keeps the crowd screaming for more. So it sounds a bit like a roguelike there, where it does chop and change, and you can, choose things to make the fight different. You see, no two Colosseum runs will be the same. Between waves you'll be asked to choose between a number of modifiers that will swing the odds against you and empower your opponents. If you plan to go all the way, you'll need to juggle increasingly tricky waves and your chosen modifiers. So it sounds a bit like the modifiers from TOA, where there's certain ones you can choose. You can expect to find yourself handsomely rewarded for your crowd-pleasing deeds. Higher waves will offer greater loot with the opportunity to earn some unique rewards for especially impressive performances. We don't have specifics in mind just yet, but as always we're keen to hear your suggestions. A green Colosseum filled with never before seen enemies, epic loot and screams, cheers and gasps of adrenaline-fueled spectators. Are you not entertained? So question 3 is, if Varlamore is added to the game, should it include the Fortis Colosseum? So it's a wave-based minigame like fight caves with a focus on decision making, risk versus reward, and higher playability. So it's intended to actually provide more rewards than, say, fight caves for the replayability, and it will reward you even if you fail, but you will choose to leave. It'll reward you if you choose to leave early. You cannot fail, but you risk failing if you want to get to the end. So it is a pretty cool idea, I think, spin on it, and it's a spin on Inferno, because obviously if you die you get nothing. It does offer you that chance to get some rewards out of it probably, and then obviously a very good reward if you complete the entire thing. So I think that's pretty exciting content. I know there will be a lot of players who are high-end PVMers who will probably be able to do it on the first day or first week at the very least, pretty easily figuring it out. But I think for the majority of players, they will have a good tough time with that one. So what's the next one? Perilous Moons. So it's an experience. I'll actually read over this because I was actually very interested in this. So this would be for my mates who do barrows. They play majority of mobile. I think this piece of content will be exceptional for these players that are just sort of playing this very casually and not into the higher end of PVM. So it says, for those of you hoping for a less intense introduction to Varlamore's ancient customs, we've got just the thing. Perilous Moons is an experience quest that will have you crawling through the dungeony depths of Camtorum, a dwarven town to the west of Civitalis Fortis. So it was up the top, I think, in the northwestern. You'll explore a new dungeon and the mysteries that lurk within, revealing a new piece of PVM content aimed at mid-level players. Deep in these dank depths dwell a bunch of deadly demi-bosses. Defeat them and you will re-emerge with some exciting new loot. If you couldn't tell, this content is heavily inspired by the classic Barrows Brothers, a mid-level combat staple. Unlike Barrows, however, your experiences here will focus on discovery and exploration. We want to make you feel like you are progressing through the dungeon in a meaningful way, learning more about the area and Varlamore as a whole. Think of it as a middle ground between Barrows and the Fortis dungeon, combining the best bits of each into a well-rounded adventuring experience. Have you got what it takes to develop into the depths of OSRS? And vote yes. So I'd definitely vote yes for this. It says that this would be an experienced tier quest that grants players access to a new dungeon to explore, along with a handful of demi-bosses, introduce players to various PVM mechanics. I have been wanting something like this for a long time, something that is sort of like World of Warcraft, but obviously mixed in with the spirit of the game with old school RuneScape. So with, as it said, the Fortis dungeon, when I was in there, I thought, man, this dungeon's cool. Bit like even, you have Security Stronghold all the way back then, and that gave me the idea that this game has potential to have dungeon crawling in it. And then obviously in 2010 we saw Dungeoneering, which had that sort of, you open this door and you get through into this new room. So I'm hoping that it will be like a bit like the RS3 high combat dungeons, mixed with Zamorak Fortress or whatever, mixed with the raids on maybe a smaller scale, and it incorporates skilling, and maybe it could have some puzzles, it could have some new Slayer creatures in there that you could also go in there just to farm, or it could give you a time limit of those. There'd be so many ideas, not just with the bosses. So I honestly think this would be an incredible piece of content, and it's something that would be new, working on the foundations of the areas, like the Fortis dungeon, that you have this lore tied to it. And from here, we're actually not just making it a room with mobs and NPCs. We're going to generate it into a dungeon and have actual systems in place that you complete it and you get some nice rewards. So I think that's an excellent idea. Definitely would vote yes if Varlamore is added to the game. And last but not least, the Hunter Guild. So I will read this one because it's important as well. So sorry guys, sorry everyone, I wasn't intending to read this, but it's actually capturing my attention. It's quite interesting. So the Hunter Guild are the open plains of the Avium Savannah, breathtaking vistas, grand adventures and wildlife you haven't seen anywhere else in Gielinor. Just beyond the capital's imposing walls lies the Hunter Guild, a hub for the world's foremost animal experts. Perhaps with a bit of time and hard work you might count yourself among them. As guilds go, we think of one of the standouts is Kebos' famous farming guild. It may not unlock a ton of new skilling methods, but it does give you the opportunity to harness the skills you've already built. We'll be riffing on this same idea with the Hunter Guild, focusing on breathing new life into well-established but underutilized content from all over Gielinor. On top of that, there are a few surprises in the guild itself and the surrounding Avium Savannah. There are new locations for hunter creatures, both familiar and new ways to hunt them. You'll need at least 40 hunter to prove yourself to the guild, but there's plenty of rewards on offer for even the most seasoned hunters as they approach true mastery of the skill. Here you'll find all the amenities you'd expect from a guild, banks, hunter-specific stores, and a host of friendly NPCs to hang out with. These expert hunters have plenty of tricks up their sleeves, and they might even be able to teach you a thing or two. Over time you'll gain XP, unlock new hunter methods, and a lot more of what the guild has to offer. We'll be taking inspiration from the recent Game Jam proposals, which I'm not sure what that was, so we already have a handful of ideas concerning rewards and skill improvements. Should we get the green light, however, we'd love to hear ideas from the wider community. Has the Hunter Guild captured your heart? Let us know by voting yes to this poll question. It's not a trap, we promise. So I would definitely be voting yes for this, because I think Hunter does need some more content. I definitely think it needs more animals and creatures to hunt, new ways of hunting them, and I think maybe even, obviously as they're saying, a new sort of way of doing it that is little bit different to already what we're used to on Gielinor's mainland. I think Hunter, when it first released, was one of the most hyped skills of all time, like up there with, I don't know what other ones were, like in all honesty, like construction was pretty crazy at the time, but Hunter, I just remember when it came out, like everyone was doing it. It was like crazy trying to like be able to hunt stuff. So I think this could blow up definitely, if they make it really addictive and some very cool rewards and just little Easter egg stuff peppered in with the fact that you got all these new exciting creatures, especially the higher level tiers for the high players who already have 99. I'm sure they'll be welcome to enjoy this piece of content. I think the Hunter Guild is definitely required because we have all these other guilds already, so it makes sense, and Varlamore seems like this sort of you know, mysterious zone where, you know, we got sailing on the horizon, if that is voted in, yes. And this is like sort of, it's got that mysterious element of like, what is on this Varlamore? Is there giants? I feel like it could be possibly giants, especially with the Colosseum. It could be like this hunting, farming community as well. There's just like so many possibilities. So yes, I think the Hunter Guild, if Varlamore's added to the game, we should have the Hunter Guild. So thanks for listening to me blabber on. I really wanted to make a video. I didn't get to react to the summit, but I wanted to I always want to make videos that I want to make, because I do this only part-time, and it's just a passion for me. So basically what I'm saying is I wanted to read the Varlamore post from this summit, with this coming up into 2024. I feel like this one will be taken the best with the community. It's just good content. It's not something you generally would vote no unless you really hate what you see. And I think obviously adding more areas into the game for players to explore and do things is only going to be good if it's good content, which it seems like they've really thought this out, and it sounds amazing. Yeah, so thanks for listening to me blabbering on. Now, the most important thing, I want to make it clear that they, as I say at the end here, that they're only giving us the information we need to vote on the greenlight stage. So the content, if it passes a poll, they'll go into greater deal about the pitches. So obviously it's a blanket thing with just creating discussion about it, which is so important, and I think they're doing a great job at doing that for us. So let me know your thoughts. If you did, let me know if you saw the Summer Summit 2023. Let me know what you think, especially about the Varlamore content. Let me know exactly what you would want to see in Varlamore. Let me know what you think they're missing in Varlamore, in what this pitch is, and also let me know what was your most favorite out of that, and if you can see yourself doing that content if it does release, if Varlamore's added to the game, and if that passes a poll. So without further ado, thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.